Before I get started with this video, I wanted to go over two things very quickly. First of all, this video will be recorded with my new microphone. I'd love your input on if you think it sounds better or if you prefer the old one. Secondly, I wanted to thank you all for following me on this journey into audio narration. It's been great, and getting to hear feedback from you, as well as the authors of these tales, has been splendid. I look forward to making more of them. Without further ado, let's get to the story. I Can Never Look Up Again by Rose Black 2222. Isn't it amazing how a single event can cause your life to spiral out of control? It can only take one. You can do everything right, but because of that one thing, you are left a shell of your former self. For me, it happened a year ago. It wasn't as though I did anything to elicit what happened. It was a simple matter of me being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was on my way home from the store. I walk since it's close. Some woods connect my neighborhood and it. While walking through them, I picked up on some whistling. That's not out of the ordinary, and I would normally dismiss it as caused by the wind. What made me pay attention to it, however, was how unique it was. It's hard to explain. All I can say about it is that it had a distinct rhythm. Curious, I went to its source. I expected it to be a bird of some kind, since it was coming from a high place. Instead, it was a necklace. I was able to spot it due to how refractive it was. The rainbow light that shone through it and from the branches alerted me to its location. A short climb allowed me to reach it. Once I grabbed hold of it, the whistling stopped, and I climbed back down. It was hanging from a gold chain and shaped like a dragonfly. It was made of emerald, with diamonds making the material for its wings, and its eyes were made of sapphire. How it came to be in the tree I got it from puzzled me. It looked too valuable for someone to throw away, and besides, there are easier ways than putting it in a tree. I did consider the possibility of a bird having taken it from someone and dropping it off on the tree. I did consider the possibility of a bird having taken it from someone and dropping it off in the tree. It isn't unheard of for them to do such a thing. However, the necklace was far too heavy for the birds seen in my area to carry. Just to make sure it was genuine, I had it inspected by a jeweler. He confirmed that it was and asked if I wanted to sell it. I told him maybe and that I was thinking about it. Honestly, the idea crossed my mind almost immediately when I realized what I had found. What made me hesitant was a couple of things. For one, I understand that jewelry stores tend to shortchange their customers, so I wanted to make sure I got the best value for it. The other reason is I wanted to do more research on it. The jeweler commented on the fact there weren't any markings that he could find on it. This made him suspicious about where I had gotten it from. Figuring how I actually found it wouldn't serve a believable explanation, I just told him I spotted it on the ground on the way home. Thankfully, he was satisfied with this answer. I went home and tried researching the necklace, only for nothing to come up. I can't say I was surprised by this. I'll admit, The idea that the necklace's owner was distraught over their necklace missing did cross my mind. I thought about maybe putting out an ad for someone to claim it. The issue is, I had nothing to indicate who it really belonged to. Anybody could claim it. Plus, if the person had a necklace like that, they were probably a lot better off financially than I am. For these reasons, I decided against this. I would come to regret this decision. Although at the time, I had no way of knowing what it would do to me. It struck me as odd that, despite the whistling it emitted that allowed me to find it, there were no holes in it that would allow for this. It was only when I had gotten home to examine it more thoroughly did this dawn on me. I also found it strange, in retrospect, that its whistling stopped when I grabbed it. I considered that maybe there was something electronic inside, emitting the noise somehow. Then I thought if that were the case, it would have to have a speaker on it of some kind, which it didn't. Seeing as how it's a necklace, it's not hard to guess what I did with it next. I put it on to see how it looked on me. Nothing prompted me to outside of this. There was no mystical force controlling me to do so. It was entirely my fault. Again, though, how was I supposed to know what would happen? I slipped the chain around my neck. The moment the pendant hit my chest, I felt an adrenaline rush go through me, and things began appearing before me. Different colors were emitting from areas in my home. They moved in a wave-like pattern. It was all so overwhelming that I reflexively grabbed hold of the necklace to remove it. When I did, the chain rattled, and I could see small wisps of gold coming from it that were brighter than it was. That's when I realized I was seeing a noise. Naturally, I was stunned by this and had to confirm it. I did this by snapping my fingers. Doing so caused waves of white to appear in the air. Excitement filled me. If this was what I saw inside my house, I couldn't wait to see what outside was like. That was when my mood went from fascinated to terrified. It was as if I went from a hot tub to a boiling pot, mentally speaking. Going outside, the view was pretty at first. The wind was green, and the sound of water dripping from branches and gutters was a clear blue. The sound that vehicles made was a shining silver. As for people speaking, I could see the words come out of their mouths. Each letter was a different color. The words I saw were in English, so I imagined if the people around me spoke, say, Japanese, for example, I'd see those characters coming out of people's mouths. Everything was pretty until I cast my gaze upward. In the sky, I saw it among the clouds. Well, it would be more accurate to say that I saw part of it. Had I seen it in its entirety, I would not be mentally sound enough to type this up. Massive doesn't begin to describe it. If the pendant was any indicator of its appearance, what I was seeing, the best way I can describe it, is being a grotesque parody of a dragonfly. There had to be hundreds, maybe thousands of different colors swirling around the area of it I could see. A lot of the colors I can't describe because I've never seen them before that. Unless you were there, you have no idea how jarring seeing it was. It wasn't as if there was a feeling of ominousness or mysteriously bad weather prior to me seeing it. Aside from what the necklace was causing me to see, it was all ordinary except for it. Looking at it made me feel as though my brain was a computer and it was a file that far exceeded my storage capacity. The part of it I was viewing was one of its wings. Its flapping caused gusts of wind to blow through my neighborhood. Yet, it didn't have a solid presence because I could clearly see a plane go through it. I was rendered speechless by the sight of it, which was a good thing for me at the time. If my initial reaction upon seeing it was to scream, that would have drawn attention to me. The mere sight of it froze me in place. What happened next snapped me out of that. It made a different noise. This noise sounded high-pitched and shrill. It started turning, and it hit me that it realized I could see it. That meant it wanted to see me. Seeing its face was something I knew would break my mind. I grabbed hold of the chain and removed the pendant from my neck. As soon as I did, it and the colors vanished instantly, and I could feel this searing pain along my arm. Even though it wasn't enough to make me cry out, it still hurt like hell. I glanced down and saw that a scar had appeared on my arm. I think it was in its shape. What made its appearance on my arm even more bizarre was the fact that it was sizzling. I was left standing in my yard, drenched in sweat and pain. What bothered me almost as much as what I had just experienced was how ordinary everything seemed after I took off the necklace. It was still bright and sunny. I almost felt as though I was being mocked by the normality of everything. Nothing was out of place. Everyone was going about their days. Meanwhile, I was experiencing an existential dread. Just to make sure I hadn't suffered a psychotic break, I waited a couple of days and tried the necklace on again. Sure, the scar should have been proof enough. The issue was, I didn't actually see it form, so it could have been caused by something else. Once more, I saw the colors and glimpsed outside briefly and confirmed that the creature was still in the sky. Once again, I felt pain in my arm. That time was different, though. Instead of it being quick, it was lasting, as if someone was carving into my arm with an invisible knife. I could see it form in my arm in real time. The pain was excruciating. This indicated to me that the creature wasn't happy about the fact I could see it. In fact, judging by how hot the scar was getting, it was furious with me. I knew I had to do something. I took off the necklace, and once again the colors vanished. It, however, did not. My mind was sent into a frenzy. I knew I wasn't wearing the necklace anymore. I was holding the accursed thing in my hand. The only theories I can offer for this is that it was either caused by me putting the pendant on again, or the monster cursed me somehow. To support the latter theory, it could explain how it was able to take more time in tormenting me. Either way, that doesn't change my situation. Whenever I go out, I always have to make sure I never look up. It's only when I see it does another scar appear. I'm always wearing a hat, so the bill shades my eyes. I avoid planes and tall buildings like the plague if I can help it. In the event I do have to enter them, I make sure to never take a window seat for planes, and I never look out of the windows of tall buildings. I'm in a state of constant panic. All it will take is one slip of me looking towards the sky, and I will see its face. Believe me, I've tried finding ways to rid myself of this. I've gone to multiple gypsies and psychics. Every one of them turned pale by simply touching the pendant. They all said something along the lines of what I was dealing with was beyond their power. That's just my luck, right? I suppose banishing a ghost or demon is hard enough, but doable. Something like it, on the other hand, is another matter entirely. Therefore, I can't say I was surprised by them not being able to help. Still, it was better than not trying to do something. After seeking help from the gypsies and psychics failed, I thought that maybe destroying the pendant would free me of my curse. Sometimes, the simplest solutions are the most effective after all. Unfortunately, it seems resistant to everything I've tried. Short of maybe throwing it in boiling magma, it's virtually indestructible. And it's not as though I'll be somewhere with high volcanic activity anytime soon. That means I'm stuck dealing with this. I admit, over the duration of time I've had this problem, I've grown curious as to what its face is like. I know that doing so will break me. However, I'm getting so tired of living the way I am. As I said, it's only been a year since I discovered the pendant. In that time, I've been on the constant verge of panic attacks and have to wear long-sleeved clothes and pants to hide the scars. One time, I almost saw its face. A friend of mine pointed something out to me. In my dazed and tired state, I followed where his finger was pointing. At the last moment, realization hit me, and I put up my hand to block my eyes. I fainted from the fear I felt of nearly seeing it, and the pain which I felt in my back instead of my arm. I told him it was caused by me not getting enough sleep. That's not a complete lie. Sleepless nights are something I have become accustomed to. Now I'm pretty much a recluse. Do you know what I've missed the most since this all happened? Being able to see the stars. I can if they're on, say, a TV. Luckily for me, it doesn't show up on it. However, I no longer have the luxury at going outside and gazing at a starry night, all because of that necklace and it. I still have no idea who it belonged to first, or where it came from. I'm also curious about something else. Namely, did the necklace cause the creature to appear? Or was it always there? and only by wearing it could I see it? To be honest, I find the latter to be more disturbing of those possible answers. The idea that it has always been above us, yet out of sight, bothers me greatly. I've spent time wondering if the pendant's last owner had similar thoughts. Are they still around, or did they see its face and off themselves out of terror? If they saw it and didn't do that, I imagine the best case scenario for them would be a padded cell somewhere. Hell, if the scars are any indicator, maybe they saw its face, experienced pain greater than what I have, and succumbed to it. These are only theories, however, the last one of which I'm fine with not having confirmed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get some sleep. I'm rarely able to, except on the occasions the fatigue causes my body to give out. The nightmares I'll have will be worth it for a night's rest. They usually include me almost seeing it in its entirety and my body being consumed by hellfire. Believe me, I hold out as long as I can, knowing that's what I'll see when I drift off. Maybe, just maybe, I'll get a good night's rest this time.